Welcome back, everybody, to another installment of Parleh Madness, powered by Duke's freshly crafted smoked meats. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, back with my co-host, Jelani Goodrich Reid, and we are back to preview and make our predictions for round number 2 of March Madness. It was a crazy round 1. We saw some Cinderella stories already. We saw some double-digit seeds get wins. We also saw some top seeds flex their muscles. But now we got some interesting games in round 2. This is where we start to see who is legitimate with a trip to the Sweet 16 on the line. And in this one, we're actually going to start with a very great matchup. This is probably one of my favorite matchups of round 2. And it is going to feature Jelani's North Carolina Tar Heels, who did look good in the first round. Talk about
Yep,
flexing
yep.
muscles. That was no contest in the beginning. Taking on Baylor. Baylor minus 5.5. Who do you like in this tough spot here? This is gonna be a great game.
Yeah, this is the first game on Saturday that we have, and I think this should have been one of the later games, in my opinion. I love it because you're talking about the defending champs and a team that's playing pretty nice right now in Carolina. And I'm gonna go Carolina on the spread here. In terms of money line, it could go either way because Baylor is just such a tough group to deal with. But in terms of the spread here, 5.5, I do feel comfortable with going with the North Carolina Tar Heels in this spot. You're obviously talking about a game where Armando Baycott, Brady Manick, and Caleb Love, they combined for 68 points. They played fantastic throughout the game against Marquette. And you're also talking about RJ Davis, who I did speak on a bit in our preview for that matchup. I was expecting him to really be a facilitator like he's known to be. And he did actually have the most assists by a Tar Heel in a decade. He had 12. So if you could get some of that offensive production from your big names, I think that the Tar Heels will be in a good spot moving into this game against Baylor, a team that obviously has a lot of depth, and a lot of firepower that we're seeing, of course, and good coaching. And when you're playing one of the better teams in the tournament, you have to play up to their level. And I do see, throughout the year, UNC has been able to play up to the level of certain contenders. But one thing I would want to say is I hope that they're not feeling too good about themselves, not being too high right now, because there have been stretches during the year where, as a fan myself, I've seen it. The Tar Heels have got good wins on their schedule, and then they follow that up by, just having a poor performance and really just feeding off of that win and forgetting the fact that they have another game. So yes, you got it done against Marquette, who's a pretty nice group, but now you're playing a tougher group in Baylor. Even without LJ Cryer, they are still formidable. So you have to hope that your big names do show up. But yeah, X factor for me again, Brady Manick, when he does score, when he manages to put the ball in the hole, this is a team that could beat a lot of teams. And look, whoever wins this game, though, outright, I do think the path is getting a bit more clear as we, don't have Kentucky in this region
Yeah.
anymore. But yeah, give me the Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, great point about Kentucky no longer being there.
Yeah,
You would have to think the winner of this game would all of a sudden become the favorite to get on out of this
probably. Yeah.
region. And yeah, you look at North Carolina; they've been incredible. Baylor, though, the defending champs, you can never truly underestimate them or rule them out. But yeah, I look at that line 5.5. I got to take UNC in the spot. I think it's going to be a close game. And actually, going back to the ACC semifinal, North Carolina right now is on one of the hottest runs in the nation. They've lost only 3 games since mid-January and have covered in 5 of their last 6. This is a team that you don't want to bet against right now. I mean, take their first game, for example. They smoked their opponent, and that was just an impressive showing. And what makes this North Carolina team truly effective is on the offensive end. And also defensively, North Carolina is allowing teams to shoot only 34.6% from deep. So if the Bears start this game off a little shaky, couple early misses, and all of a sudden North Carolina can get off to the hot start like they did in round number 1, that's going to put a ton of pressure on the Baylor Bears. And I remember at the beginning of the March Madness tournament when we did our Selection Sunday preview, I said the 8 or the 9s are going to be dangerous this year.
Right.
And we're going to see that, in this spot, if it's going to come to fruition. Can UNC knock off Baylor? I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be close. And ultimately, I see this going down to the wire. So I will take the points, expecting a very close game. I would not be surprised if UNC does pull off the upset, but I mean, it is Baylor. I'm not ready to say they will, but I will take the points.
Yeah, I hope so as a fan. But yeah, one guy to watch, Leaky Black. He's one of the better defenders in this whole bracket among all the teams, and he shut down Marquette's best scorer, Justin Lewis, to only 6 points. And Lewis went 2 for 15. So if Leaky Black could, give us yet another good performance defensively, this could be a tough matchup for the Baylor Bears. I don't think the Bears really want to see Carolina, but we'll see what happens with that one. Now let's move to Michigan and Tennessee. This is another intriguing matchup we have for the second round. Tennessee 6 point favorites here. Do you go with the six in terms of Tennessee, or do you think Michigan can actually pull off another upset?
I'm a Michigan guy, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a homer here. I'm actually going to go with Tennessee. I'm going to go against Michigan. I was surprised with how good they looked in that opening round matchup. They're actually down in the first half against Colorado State, and it took an impressive second half turnaround to give that team the victory. I think Michigan can afford to do the same thing here. Tennessee is just so much more polished. This is a team that could make a Final Four run. They're so good, and I think this is where that reality is going to start to set in for Michigan Wolverines fans, that this is just going to be a year where they win one game and that's it. I mean, you look at Michigan, they're 3-8 when it allows teams to make 36% or more of their shots from the outside, and 0-6 when teams make 48% or more. And you look at Tennessee, they hit 58% from three in that first round, and they average 36% per game. And this team has just been on an incredibly fun run. The SEC tournament champion, they have been rock solid since the end of February. They have gone 13-1 with that lone loss against Arkansas. And Tennessee, they love to force turnovers. They play gritty defense. And Tennessee's going to hit the three. I think this is going to be a game where they're going to rely on the three-point shot to fall. Right now, I'm not betting against Tennessee. I really think this team looks poised potentially for an Elite Eight run. And I think they will cover the 6 here against Michigan. That, again, will fall back to reality. So I will take Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm going with Tennessee as well. I do expect for Eli Brooks to have another good game for Michigan. He had 16, 7, and 6 in their last one. He did create a lot of chances, a lot of opportunities for guys like Hunter Dickinson and Caleb Houston. They're going to need those guys to show up again. We'll see if Devontae Jones will play. He was out with a concussion. He's a big piece to the puzzle for Michigan. But yeah, I think Tennessee, to me, is one of the better teams within that region specifically, and they're a team I see going deep in this tournament. Let's hope that they don't prove me wrong or mess up my bracket. But yeah, when you're looking at their guard play, which is so big, obviously in this time of year, you're looking at guys like Vescovi and Chandler who are such big guys in terms of like what they do production wise for the offense of Tennessee. And then you're also talking about the other side of the ball defensively. Michigan's gonna play one of the best defenses in terms of their schedule this year. This Tennessee group is probably going to be one of the harder defensive groups that Michigan's going to deal with on the year. So watch out for that. I don't know how Michigan's going to respond to that. We understand that Michigan has been a team that's reached at least or at minimum the Sweet 16 in 4 straight tournaments,
Wow.
which actually is second to only Gonzaga. So they are a team that knows how to win these games and knows how to win these spots. But I just don't know if they have enough in this one. They need to shoot the ball well. I understand they're a sleeper pick here, but I got to go with Tennessee, especially if a guy like Josiah Jordan James goes off again. He's had 16 plus points in 4 of their last 6 games. That's for Tennessee. So watch out for him. And he could also rebound the ball for you. He had 9 against Longwood in their win. So yeah, give me Tennessee in this one.
Two incredible matchups to start us off here. Going into the next one, it's going to be another fun one. We got Richmond going up against Providence. This is going to be another close spread. Providence favorites by 3.
It's funny because I was the guy that was backing Iowa, and then they failed me. They literally, I don't know what happened there. So I should I go against Richmond here? No, I shouldn't because they proved me wrong, but I am. I'm going with Providence here. Providence at the 4th seed. I just believe that they'll make more meaningful and smart plays. They're a good rebounding team. They know how to hit critical shots late. And when you're looking at the betting preview for this one against the spread, you're looking at a team in Providence who's had a better record against the spread, 16-14, in comparison with Richmond, who's 17-18-1. So
Yeah.
when you're looking at those numbers, might lean towards Providence, but they have guys that you can really rely on. You got Jared Bynum, Al Durham, you got Nate Watson. Those three guys are names that you should really look at in this game to really expect them to have a good performance, respectively, because when those guys get it done, the whole team plays better and plays up to higher levels. Their 3-point percentage has also gone up this season, so watch for the three ball to be there. But yeah, as for Richmond, look, you have to give them credit for playing one of the best offenses tough. They were very physical. I think they should be physical once again with Providence, but don't foul because Providence is actually one of the best free throw shooting teams
Yeah.
in the nation. So watch for that as well. But yeah, defense is going to be huge in this matchup for sure, especially if you're a Richmond better. As they held Iowa to 28 points in the first half. That's something you don't see. And they also stopped Iowa's streak of 16 consecutive games reaching 70 plus points. So that was impressive to see. But yeah, here I believe in Providence. So give me Providence here on the spread.
Yeah, significant advantages when it comes to 3-point shooting, like you said, at the foul line. Bynum and Reeves have been great for Providence. This is a team that shows up against good teams. They're 21-6 against the spread in their last 27 games versus a team with a winning percentage of above 600. And one area that Providence has a very sizable edge over Richmond is on the glass. You look at the Friars, they're 66th in the nation in rebounding rate, while Richmond is 295th.
Oh, wow.
And that was a big reason why the Friars defeated the Jackrabbits. I had the Jackrabbits in that
Me
upset,
too.
so I
Me
was proven
too. Yeah.
wrong. But a big reason was that it was +8 rebounding margin in favor of Providence. So I think rebounding, the 3-point shooting, getting to the foul line, Providence is the better team here. It will show. I know Richmond, they ruined our brackets. You sold me on Iowa. I had them going to the Final Four too. But this is where the Cinderella story is going to end. The better team will move on. Providence, I think you take this at -3. I think it's a gift. They will cover it and move on.
And it's interesting in terms of Richmond. Since seeding began in the NCAA tournament, the Spiders have actually had 9 wins as a 12 seed or lower, which is the most. So they come up big in these spots. I don't know what it is. So that gives you hope if you're a Richmond better. But yeah, here I believe in Providence as well. But now let's move to our next game. We have St. Mary's and UCLA. This is a 5-4 matchup, which UCLA is actually favored here by 3. So where do you put the points?
I like the St. Mary's team. Something is
Mm,
telling me they are going to make that heroic run. And it's funny because they're going up against a team that made that run last year in UCLA.
yeah.
It could be St. Mary's turn. I'm taking St. Mary's +3. I would not be surprised if they win this game outright. And this is a team that had an easy time in the first round, pulled away from Indiana as I expected. It was a nice, comfortable 82-53 win, led by guards Logan Johnson, Tommy Kuzi. They combined for 39 points. Johnson had 20 alone. St. Mary's, they don't have the same type of athletic talent that UCLA does, but Coach Randy Bennett, this is a guy that he's got such a precise system. He is able to just adjust in game better than most coaches in NCAA. And I really like how St. Mary's shoots the basketball. And that was a statement win to begin this tournament for them. I mean, to beat Indiana the way that they did, that was convincing. And I really think they will have a little bit of magic here on their side. And yeah, we could be looking at this Gales team as the team that makes a run. I see an Elite Eight, honestly, in their future if they can continue to play the way that they've been playing. So UCLA, they're a lot of people's favorites to get to a Final Four, but I think they're going to meet their match here in St. Mary's. So I'm going with them.
Yeah, no, I'm going the other way. I got to go with UCLA. This is a team I could see in the Elite Eight and further than that, but they can't sleep because St. Mary's, for the reasons you pointed out, is actually a nice team here in this spot. These two teams play a similar style, so it's going to be interesting to watch this one. And also, if you're going with St. Mary's, you're going to have to hope that they shoot the ball as well as they did against Indiana. But here, I think in this tournament, you're looking at it and you're looking at all these games. What's so important is the free throw shooting. And I think that you got to lean towards UCLA. They are the better team in that area. And I also see their offense outplaying St. Mary's. And when you're looking at the betting insights, 7-4 against the spread in their last 11 games. And for me, the defense of UCLA will be the difference in this game because they do allow 41.5 from the field in terms of field goal rate. And I just believe that they'll bother St. Mary's by how active they are. Mike Cronin will have a defensive game plan that will counter what St. Mary's can do. I don't expect for St. Mary's to have necessarily as well as good as as a performance as they had in the first one against Indiana. I think that game, they shot the ball really well. They were very efficient, very effective. But here, I think they're playing a team that could get at you from the perimeter defensively. They could run with you, and they're also pretty good on the board. So yeah, give me UCLA in this one. I believe that a lot of bettors are going with UCLA. They are a popular pick in terms of a favorite. But yeah, I think it's justified here. So yeah, give me the Bruins.
All right, so that's our first disagreement of the show with our picks head to head. We will get into the next game, but before we do, just want to remind everybody that Parlay Madness is powered by Duke's freshly crafted smoked meats. Duke's products are freshly crafted with real ingredients. We got a great game on tap here. We got a Cinderella story, a team that destroyed a lot of brackets. St. Peter's, they were the spotlight of Thursday, taking on Murray State. 8-point favorites here. So the odds makers think this is going to be one-sided from Murray State. But do you think St. Peter's has some more magic in them? Which side are you going with?
Yeah, this is interesting. I was not, I don't think anyone was expecting for St. Peter's to pull that one out against Kentucky. That was a great win for this program, of course. But I gotta go with them. I gotta go with them. I like what they're doing, so I'm gonna go with St. Peter's on the spread here. As for money line, I do believe in Murray State because I actually had Murray State advancing to the Sweet 16 and being the team that would beat Kentucky. But this is going to be interesting. Daryl Banks coming off of a huge game for St. Peter's. This guy could not miss a shot, and this is actually the 10th number 15 seed to win a first round since the 64 team expansion in 1985. So we haven't seen this a lot. And this team, they're riding on a high right now. They might play really tough in this one, and they have to because Murray State is a team that has multiple guys to deal with. You're talking about KJ Williams, Tevin Brown. You're talking about Justice Hill, Trey Hannibal. So those are guys that all scored 17 or around like 17, 18, 15 points in their last matchup. So they could put the ball in the hole. You're also talking about Jamari Boye, who had 36. I mean, they're going to have to, in terms of St. Peter's, they're going to have to play some good defense here in order to win this game or at least cover here. But I do feel good about it because they are 34th in terms of the adjusted defensive ratings. And this is better than a lot of teams right now in the tournament. And also they're better defensive in terms of a defensive team. They're better than Murray State in terms of that area. So when you're looking at all that, I do think that, St. Peter's coming off of a huge win against one of the Blue Bloods, knocking out John Calipari for the first time. He never gets knocked out in the first round. So you're probably never going to see that again. I think they're going to use that to their advantage in this one. They're going to play up to the level of Murray State. Murray State gets at it. They're active. They're strong. Their offense is really good. But when you're looking at St. Peter's, they made it really tough on Kentucky. They were very physical with Kentucky. They made every point count. They made Kentucky work for every point. So that's what they're going to have to do here in this one. And I expect that to happen. So yeah, give me the St. Peter's Peacocks.
Yeah, great story. Really great story. And I usually ride with that great story into round two. I'm not ready to say they're going to win this game. But yeah, you look at the spread, you got to take them +8. You got to show them some respect. You got to, give them their flowers. And I think this is a team that can keep it close. You look at St. Peter's, 12-2 against the spread in their last 14 neutral site games, 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 games against a team with a winning record. And they're 5-1 their last 6 games as an underdog. I mean, this team has thrived as an underdog. And you know what's the funniest takeaway from yesterday when they did beat Kentucky? They were unverified on Twitter when they beat Kentucky, and then it took them beating Kentucky to finally get verified. Craziest story you'll ever find in sports. That's why we love March Madness.
Yep.
And I understand why Murray State is the favorite here. They are the better team, and they are a powerhouse. They were a powerhouse in the Ohio Valley Conference, but we got to show St. Peter's some respect here. They went toe to toe with Kentucky. They were my pick to win the entire tournament. You know they're going to have a similar game plan here. And if it did wonders the first time, it's probably going to do wonders the second time. St. Peter's, yeah, I like this pick here. Give me them +8. I think they'll do enough to stick around because that was such an impressive showing against Kentucky. And what I really liked was the coach immediately, he didn't make his guys celebrate. He made sure they
Yep.
were in the line, shaking hands. He realizes that it's only one game. And then somebody asked him after, he's like, are you nervous? He's like, what's there to be nervous about? It's a basketball game. So I really like this coach's mentality, and I like how this team is playing. And yeah, it's showing throughout. So St. Peter's, I hope they have another outstanding showing on Saturday. And at the very least, if they can't win this game, I hope they do cover. So give me them +8, a +8.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they won once again because that would be back-to-back teams in Kentucky that have been balling this year.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And now let's go to Memphis and Gonzaga. Gonzaga, the number one overall seed in this whole thing this year. They are favored by 10.5 points. It's probably, yeah, it's our biggest spread today on the
yeah.
show. So do you go with that?
Yeah, they had a bit of a scare, didn't they? In
Yep,
that
yep.
first game, it was crazy. We were all thinking, "Wow, is Gonzaga so many people's favorite, the favorite, right? Based on
Yep.
odds to win it, were they going to lose?" But then they just flexed their muscles. It's like they toyed with them up until
Yeah.
the last 10 minutes. It was crazy to see. Yeah, I'm going with Gonzaga here. I think they're not going to take any chances against a Memphis team that could make them pay. I think Gonzaga is going to do a better job of getting off to a great start. They got so many good players here. Talk about Holmgren, Timmy. Those guys took over. And I think guys like Nemhard and Bolton are going to have a much bigger role against Memphis. And yeah, I expect them to take advantage of a Tigers team that they did make some costly errors and miscues in the second half of Thursday's opener, which resulted in them coughing up the ball 15 times. And they were the other team was rallying against them. I thought Memphis was going to lose, but it took a very heroic effort at the end for Memphis to halt off Boise State because that was a really competitive game. So they can't expect to do that and stay close with Gonzaga. No way. And you look at
Right.
how often they turn the ball over. This is what really concerns me. They're turning the ball over 16.3 times per game. That is
Mm.
353rd in the country. So you turn the ball over, you make mistakes as often as you did against Boise State, you're going to get run out of the gym by this Gonzaga team. So I think it's going to be a much different start to this game than it was in the first game from Gonzaga. It's going to be all them. Give me them with this big spread, -10.5.
Yeah, I agree here. I think Gonzaga has to be the pick. And you understand they did have a slow start in their first matchup with Georgia State. Remember, at halftime, it was only a 2 point game. So
Yeah,
this one's going to be interesting. And why do I say this? I don't think it's going to be a rout by any stretch because Memphis has the size, and they have the athleticism to actually match what Gonzaga provides. So really look at one matchup between Chet Holmgren and Jalen Duren. I think that one's going to be very fun
really
to
good.
see, and that leads me to believe that the X factor in this one has to be Drew Timmy, like you mentioned. He has to have another great game. He could put the ball in the hole. Of course, he could get you some nice boards and gives you some great possessions. So he's going to have a lot of impact and a lot of say in how this one really plays out. One thing is though, the way that Memphis can win this game is if they continue being who they are. They're a team that likes to do transition
Yeah,
offense. They're quick. And also in terms of their defense, they know how to turn the ball over. They force turnovers on 20% of their possessions, and they average around 9 steals per game. So that's a good number, to be honest, for a team that is overlooked in terms of what they can do defensively. If you could turn the ball over and really bother the guards for Gonzaga, then you have a real shot in this one because Mark Few likes to work his system a specific way. He likes to have everything in place for this team to work, and that's how they win games because they don't go off schedule or off script. So that's how Memphis could get it done. But for me, I just think the score is going to be too large. I do expect for Gonzaga to be around, let's say, north of 80 points. Honestly, I think it's going to be that big. And if you're looking at that scenario, they're undefeated in that scenario. So if it's a shootout, I do not favor Memphis by any stretch. And I just believe that they'll capitalize that Gonzaga. I think they'll capitalize on Memphis's lack of ball security, like you were highlighting earlier. So yeah, give me the Bulldogs in this one. They win yet again and move closer to where they need to be.
Yeah, death, taxes, and Gonzaga advancing to the Sweet 16. Those are
Yeah,
things that
every year,
always
every single
seem
year.
to happen. Okay, next game, we got Miami, Florida taking on Auburn. This is going to be a good game,
Mm.
and this one's actually going to go down on Sunday. Auburn, 7-point favorites.
Yeah, Auburn looked really good today
They
in
did.
their matchup. They had and of course my guy Jabari Banks again. I believe he's going number one in the draft. Jabari Smith, my bad, Jabari Banks. I don't know where that was from, but yeah, Jabari
Wait, you
Smith.
have him going number one?
Yeah, I do. I
That's a
do. I
hot take.
haven't.
Wow.
I on my big board right now. I'd say Smith. I'd give it probably. Let's look at Chet, and then I'd probably look at Ivy, Jaden Ivy of Purdue. Those are my top
Wow.
three guys right now in the draft, and probably Caro after them. But yeah, he does it all on the floor from the forward spot, and he's gonna have to be limited because I'm going with Miami in this one. I think Miami is a team though that they did struggle today in terms of shooting. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think that they're going to be able to shoot the ball better. They only hit 1 3 today. Could you imagine that? They hit 1 3 and they
Wow.
managed to win. So I don't think that's going to happen here, though. I think they're going to have, better looks against an Auburn defense that at times doesn't look as strong, at times could get lazy. I'm looking at a guy like Jordan Miller, who could both score and rebound the basketball. You're looking at Cameron McGusty. He's their leading scorer. Watch for him, and also Isaiah Wong. I think that he's gonna be able to get to the rim, get himself some more opportunities in that area. But yeah, when you're talking about Auburn, I mean they are so reliant on Jabari Smith, but I do think that here, I just think that Miami has what it takes. I think they have the team that could play well against a team like this. Why? Through their guard play. I think their guard play is going to be huge. It's really what's got them to this tournament, to begin with. So watch for that. And the guard play has really brought them here because they're actually 17th in adjusted offensive efficiency. So they're actually one of the better teams in the tournament in that area. I just hope though, as a guy going for the Hurricanes, that they could shoot the basketball better. I do think though they'll have better looks in this one. So yeah, give me Miami.
Yeah, interesting pick. I thought you were gonna go with Auburn and your boy. I guess I'll be that guy to do those honors. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jabari Smith and Auburn. I think this team is destined for a Final Four berth. I really do. I know a lot of people are high on them, and this spread isn't that big where it scares me to lay the 7, and I will. I mean, they're a top 10 defensive team in the nation. You look at Auburn; they crush teams in the half court, and their offense is it's so reliant on the 3-pointer, and that's what's going to be very key here. In this matchup against Miami, Florida, it could come down to who wins that battle, as this could become a scoring fest, a 3-point fest. But they were impressive to me in the opening round. Miami, Florida, that game could have gone either way. I think you got to put some respect on Auburn here, and I think this team can make a run, and they will show people why they are in fact a team to be reckoned with. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the 7 here. I'm gonna go with Auburn -7 over Miami, Florida.
Yeah, I got Auburn money line, but we'll see what happens with that. I think if Miami could find a way to make their defense wake up and steal the ball, get themselves more possessions, they might get this one on the spread. And now we have our final game. Our final game here: Ohio State and Villanova. This is actually very interesting. I think this could be one of the better games in the second round. Right now, we have Villanova favored 4.5 points. So, do you go with Jay Wright's Villanova squad?
This is gonna be a tough one. One of the toughest games to predict. I'm actually gonna go with Ohio State just because I think it's gonna
Okay.
be that close. I think this
Mm,
could be decided in the last minute. A lot of these games have been close, by the way.
yeah.
You look at Ohio State; they held the Ramblers to just 26.7% shooting on Friday, and they walked away with a 13-point win to open up the tournament. And what's very important for this Buckeyes team, they were able to get Zed Key and Kyle Young back, who had missed the past couple of games due to injury. So that was very big for them. And you look on the other side, the Wildcats, they were able to get on through their matchup, but they had a bit of a sweat. It was a tight ball game deep
Yeah.
until Villanova did make that late 8-0 run to put the game on ice. I really like this Ohio State team. I think they match up well against Villanova, and they could possibly pull off the upset. I'm going to take the points here. I really think this is going to be that close game as advertised. So yeah, give me Ohio State to go blow for blow with this Nova team.
I'm going the other way. I'm going with Nova. I think Villanova is one of the best teams that people aren't really talking about. I haven't really heard a lot of people going with them in terms of Final Four, in terms of championship. They could get there, guys. They're one of the hottest teams in college basketball right now, winners of 11 of their last 12 games. You're looking at the fact that today, what really separated them in terms of the Delaware matchup was the free throw shooting. They are the best at that. A lot of starters shoot over 80%. A lot of guys on their team know how to, shoot from the charity stripe. So if it comes down to, a late game, like you pointed out, if it is a late, tough battle where it's close, a few points here and there, you got to hope that Ohio State doesn't foul these guys, right? And I think that the foul trouble will be huge in this one. If Ohio State manages to be, hurt in that area, I think that they're not going to be able to cover or win this game. I think when you're also looking at guys like Justin Moore, Caleb Daniels at guard, they give you great minutes, great production. Then other guys in terms of their forwards, Jermaine Samuels, you're looking at Eric Dixon. Those are guys that give you power and size and offense, in terms of your forward spots. So when you're talking about the firepower that Villanova has. And I didn't even mention, of course, we all know Colin Gillespie. He's their main man. He's a three-point shooter. He's a guy that could get you points from the line. He creates. He's a playmaker out there for Jay Wright and his crew. When you're talking about all those names I mentioned, though, these are guys that could give you points from anywhere from 15 to 20 or 13 through 15, whatever you need. And these are guys that give you good minutes, good contributions. And I just think when you're looking at both sides of this, you're saying to yourself that Ohio State, they have a guy like EJ Liddell, just put up like 16 and 10 today, but who's around EJ Liddell? I don't know who's going to step up for him, because Liddell leads in a lot of the major categories: points, blocks, rebounds for Ohio State, but needs the supporting cast. That's how they won today, and that's how they've won games against good teams. It's when the supporting cast really helps them out. But when you're talking about Villanova, they have multiple guys that could hurt you out there on the floor, whether or not it's a forwards or if it's the guards. So for me, I just believe that that's going to be the difference, the firepower that Villanova has in comparison to Ohio State. And also, I just lean towards the coaching, in terms of the coaching battle. For me, I find that in this tournament, coaching is so big, and I got to go with a guy like Jay Wright. He's one of the best coaches in college ball. Has been one of the best coaches in college ball for years now, and I know that he's getting their guys ready for this because they know who they are. They know that they've been in these spots before. So yeah, give me Villanova in this matchup.
Damn, you almost make me want to change my pick. You got me convinced now on Villanova, but no, I will stay a
Let's
man of
hope it
my
works
word.
now. Let's hope it works instead of the Iowa one. I don't know what happened there. My bad.
Yeah, you're trying to make up for that. So expect Jelani to bounce back big time for the second round of these picks. But that will conclude our picks against the spread for 8 of the best second round matchups on slate for this March Madness tournament. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our picks. You can follow us all over the parlay. Keep it locked and loaded with us. And once again, thank you for watching our continued coverage of Parlay Madness, powered by Duke's freshly crafted smoked meats. We'll catch you all again in the next one.